Welcome back to the workshop. Cup of coffee in hand. Okay, quick update. We've received the seals from Kawasaki. A big shout out to Fowlers of Bristol for that one. Super fast delivery. Super prices, like genuine Kawasaki parts, but they're here, all 16 of them. Right, so we've got them in. I've checked everything, everything's looking good. So without further ado, let's get these valves put in this head, get the head assembled, and then we can move on to the crankcases and bigger things. Okay, first things first, we're going to start with valve number 1. We'll get our little bag out. As you can see, we need to get the seat for the valve spring out of our little bag. That has to go on before you put the guide seal on. Now you'll notice when this has come off, it has two sides. You've got a nice shiny side there, and you've obviously got the side there where the springs have been seated. So we'll put that back as it came out, with the marks from where the springs were facing upwards. Pair along those pliers to pop that into position. Like so, in she goes. Okay, next thing, drop of oil. On the guide. There we go. Now we need a guide. Okay, we've got a long way to go with these. They're very deep in the head of these. So what we do is we've got our guide seal there. Get it in focus, in frame for you. Okay, so how do you put that over that deep recess? Well, I found a right easy way of doing it. If you get a little bit of Vaseline, where misses, bit of Vaseline, and pop that on the top of the valve stem seal. Don't be frightened to put it on. It's petroleum jelly. It'll dissolve when the engine starts, like so. Grab yourself a what size is this? It's a 6mm socket, and use the grease to stick the valve stem seal to the socket. Now all you need to do is pop that over the guide with a little bit of force. Not much, it pops on with a, well, quite a positive click, and that's it. Your valve guide seal is in. I'll give you a quick look at that. As you can see there. Okay. I've just got to be careful now because there's lots of little bits in these bags. You remember me taking them from together. So what we're going to do with this, we're going to leave our bucket tappet and the shim in the bag because we don't want to lose them, and seal that back up. That'll go on after. We're going to turn the engine upside down and we don't want them falling out. Okay, the exhaust valves on this engine only have one spring. The inlet valves have 2 springs per valve. So that's something to be aware of. Okay, so these springs have 2 ends. The tightly wound coils go to the bottom, up against the cylinder head. So that can go on there next, like that. Okay, next thing, we need a valve. Valve number 1. Just give it a clean, make sure that we've got no crap or rubbish or horrible stuff on there. Make sure it's all nice and clean. Okay, now we need to oil it. Plenty of oil on the stem. Now very gently and carefully. Insert that into there. Being very gentle when you push it through the guide. And that valve is now in position. Now on the top of that we have our keeper. Now we need the dreaded valve spring compressor, which goes over the spring, like so. Locate that in that little divot in the valve head that we talked about when we dismantled it. Now very gently wind that down, like so. Now we've got our little collets. Now then, see if I can let you see this. Okay, that goes in one way. You can see it's slightly tapered. Okay, so again we'll use the old grease trick. You can use a magnetic screwdriver. I've got a slightly magnetic screwdriver there, and we'll pop them in. This is where it gets complicated and fiddly. Very, very fiddly. There's one. That one's in place. I'm just looking for a pointy pencil. I'll show you why. Because pencils aren't magnetic, so what you can do is you can get it in place and you can sit that in like that with your tip of your pencil just to adjust it without risking pulling the collet back out with your magnetic screwdriver. So now they're in place, we'll just manipulate them with the pencil like so. Okay, now all we do is very, very gently and carefully just ease the valve spring compressor off. Okay, next task. Okay, using the punch, trying to get it in shot, we'll just pop that on the top of the stem of the valve and just give it a gentle tap, just to make sure those collets are seated. That is valve number 1 done. That is valve number 1 done. Moving on, we're going to do valve number 2 now. Same setup. We'll remove the bits and pieces out of the little bag that we put everything in. We're going to put back in the bag our shim and our bucket tappet. First things first, we'll put our seat in like that. Use our pencil just to pop it down. We'll pop a bit of grease on the top of it to make it magically stick to the socket. There it goes. Now we need a drop of oil on that guide. There we are. That's in. Spring, closed section of spring to bottom, valve. I know it seems like a right faff this, but you do get quicker as you go on, and don't forget I'm trying to film and explain everything to you. So when you're doing it on your own in a shop with no distractions, you tend to get a bit quicker at doing these. Right, let's oil the stem. Plenty of oil on the stem. There we go. That valve's in. keeper on top. Make sure that's located in the centre of the valve. Like so. Collets. One. Right. We just need that to be down a little bit. That's got it, it's in. Right, now that one in that side. As you can see, this can turn out to be a right faff. There you go, she's in. Just have to locate it using the pencil, because obviously, right, that won't properly go in there because we just need a little bit more compression on that. There we go. And she's in. Shazam. There we go. It's in. Okay, we'll take our sure they're seated. Right, confession time. I've already put the valve stem seal and spring base on this cylinder, so we don't have to worry about that. But what we do need to worry about is the fact that these valves have two springs. One goes inside the other, smallest coils to the bottom again, like that. Same situation really. Number 12 valve. There we go. Okay, that's side one done. That's that side of head done. So we switched it round, and now we're just going to do the other side. Oh. Okay, let's start with number 5.